Hi guys, this is going to be a very interesting video that I pray some good comes out of. I think truth is always important and vulnerability is always important, and this is about mental health and how it's affected my life, and a man that I love's life who is no longer with us, who hung himself about a week and a half ago, thoroughly planned. As the days progressed, in retrospect, it became very clear that it was planned. He had schizophrenia. I believe there were abilities that everyone had. And in the whole New Age way of thinking, sure, we should all be telepathic. We should be all able to be empathic, and we all should be able to trust our feelings and our intuition. And if you really do believe that you're telepathic with someone, you really can't get them to think otherwise. If they really feel something, when you're schizophrenic, if you really believe that the feelings you feel and the thoughts that come into your mind are real, there's no one that's going to tell you otherwise. You need medication and you need help. Add to that the whole depression. One day you're fully up, the next day you think you're a piece of shit. That was pretty obvious with Kai. He changed his name to Kai, which was his childhood name, about 2 months ago, because he was trying to find his authentic self. And he didn't like the association to the name Kyle that we have here in this town of Crestone. So Kai, that's why I'm calling him Kai. He liked that. There was a video that was put out that was edited within 48 hours of his death. In my world, the only way you can survive and hold integrity and persevere is through being transparent and truthful, blunt. Just be blunt. Sometimes in the last 7 months of dating him, I should have ran. I should have stayed away. I didn't, because I was in love with this man. And so I'm telling this tale because this video that was posted, that I didn't know was posted, in my very small, tiny town of Crestone, Colorado, it had 356 views since Saturday when it was posted, and today's about to be Tuesday morning. Nobody told me, but I felt the energy. Ever since he died, I felt the energy. Why are people really blaming me? I was too busy praying for his soul and having incredibly good powerful healer friends and new acquaintances that were called here to Crestone from Sedona and other places, that they were just like knocking on my door or gifting me gifts, and that helped. Sigils that made me able to sleep without wigging out. My friend rent the barge from Access Conscious, and that helped. I mean, all these people, just such support. So I felt that negative energy around me, but I didn't quite. I was worried about his soul. First, I'm like, he's fine. And then I started feeling he wasn't fine. And a friend of mine said, no, we got to pray for his soul. He's in the in-between. And so my focus a few days after he passed was, yeah, let's get him through. One of my friends said, he's in heaven triage right now. And part of the schizophrenia for Kai was that he believed that him and I could talk telepathically. And he was very upset all through the 7 months that I wouldn't admit that I could do that with him. And no amount of common sense or attempts to be positive about it would shift his point of view on that, because that's what mental health does when it's messed up, when your brain is broken. I said, I would love to be able to talk to you telepathically, Kai, but I can't lie to you. You have massive trust issues due to your life and how it played out for you. I'm never going to lie to you. And I didn't. And it caused a lot of friction, because when you're bipolar and you're in depression because everything in his life fell apart and had continued to disappoint him, and he had continued to disappoint other people, and yet he had this huge ego because there was narcissism in there too, and all this. I knew right away, and he's autistic. I'm 44, he was 33. I've known him for the entire time I've been in Crestone, the 4.5 years. I just thought he was a kid because he always looked so scrawny. I thought he was younger. As you can see in this picture, taken a 1.5 months ago, he didn't look scrawny anymore. He looked healthy. Had girth on him. Sexy man, actually. He didn't look like a kid anymore. But was he still troubled? Oh, hell yeah. So let me tell the tale of how, for some reason, his ex-girlfriend, who posted this video, and I know it was her because she posted it anonymously, but then sent it to my boss this morning, my friend and boss, directly, and said, look what she did. It's her fault that he died. The video was edited, and it showed me communicating with his mother, who I've never met, and his sister, who I had the absolute pleasure to meet. And initially, when he died on Saturday night that I found out I immediately unblocked her and sent her video messages of the last 48 hours of Kai's life in detail, because that's all that my wrecked, broken heart and brain could do in that moment. So I shared, and she received it and then said, I am destroyed right now, pretty much. I cannot take this much emotion. And I understood that, and I said, understood. And in the next 48 hours, which are a blur, I made other videos that were sent to the family where I explained and answered as best I could with all the confusion and dissonance. I don't know what these people knew or didn't know. And there was so much, as you will hear in this video, that comes with mental health illness. It affected Kai, it affected me, it affected everyone connected to us. Affected anyone who's ever met him, I'm sure, minus very few people, because he had a massive heart. He was very childlike, and he could definitely show narcissistic tendencies. He could show emotional and intelligence. The schizophrenia was super clear. The depression was heartbreaking, and then his ego would kick in, and it was just a mess. But in the midst of all that, that man was super happy with me. For the last 7 months, there was a lot of laughing and lovemaking and promises of possibilities that were hard earned. when they posted that video, edited it down, and I had the voice of someone almost flippant. I was in shock. I was exhausted. I was trying to keep my emotions in check so I could answer these questions without adding more grievance with my emotion. And it got edited up and posted publicly. And it made it sound like I never did anything about trying to help him with his mental health. It fucked me up today when I found that out. And I've taken the last several hours to collect myself and see what I could do that was positive. I'm taking this as an opportunity because, honey, bitch that you are that you posted, I am very trauma informed. You are looking at someone that saved herself. You are looking at someone who put everything they had to still be alive and productive and be able to make a contribution. I know a lot about mental health because I had to save myself. And in the last 7 months, outside of, say, the first maybe 4 days of us being together in mid-March, there was only those maybe first 4 or so days where mental health wasn't mentioned. From that point until about a month ago, when my mental health had been destroyed so much, all we talked about on a daily basis was mental health. On July 4th, when he went back to people, places, and things that were not good for him, and it was one of 2 times where I saw him completely different than who I fell in love with. I don't know what he was on. I've never called the cops on anybody. I've had the cops called on me 3 times by my former husband. Never in my life have I called the cops on somebody. That's not who I am. When I called the sheriffs, which is what we have here in Crestone, because we don't have any mental health, anything here. One of the spiritual meccas that people from around the world come to is Crestone, Colorado. All the ashrams and this and that they have all around these mountains. But here in actual downtown Crestone, in the Baca area, what mental health? What addiction help? Nothing. We don't even have a police department. We have a peace patrol. And so when on July 4th, and I will tell the tale for mostly myself and for people who truly care about him and loved him, because who else is going to care? Who cares about mental health? Only the people that are suffering with it and through it and beside it. So very few people will see this whole video. So I'm saying what I actually did at the beginning for the people in Crestone, because they won't get past this, very much past this. So let me make it clear. I called the sheriffs. I called the peace patrol on July 4th when he became somebody else and did things he shouldn't have done. And they said to call the sheriffs. We can't help you with that. Call the sheriffs. Okay. The phone didn't work because we're in the middle of fucking nowhere. So I finished that horrid night with the help of, thankfully, my friend and neighbor, who's a mental health professional for a very long time, who had been helping me through this, and I'd asked to talk to him, and he had talked to. So that was the first round, was me helping him with all the tools that I had and telling him about why this person that he loved me, and he expressed in 1,000 ways how and why, and was very specific. And he says, and I want to be like you. Okay, well, this is how I did it. Because I was a wreck when I was 2 years older than you, because I had 10 years on him. And I said, I'm impressed that you're willing to open up, and it took hours and hours and hours and hours and so much trust building. I had to give up so much that I normally would do, so much of hanging out with people that I normally would hang out with. He required so much attention and focus to build the trust that we developed. And it was the tools that I kept saying, I'm never going to lie to you. I am going to have my boundaries, and I am purposely going to sacrifice a lot of things for you. I'm going to give you 2 years. 2 years. It's going to take you at least 2 years to even start to get yourself together. And he's like, 2 years? No matter what? Yeah, 2 years minimum. And then all of these sacrifices I'm making, provided you continue with mental health and you get yourself a mental therapist and you take your 2-year journey out into the world, and provided I keep seeing change. Yeah, I'll do this for you because no one did it for me. And I think you have incredible potential. Look at you. You're an incredible craftsman. He didn't even know how good he was at craftsmanship, building a house from the ground up, plumbing, electric, the whole thing. You're funny. You want to laugh. Your father named you Sunshine when you were young for a reason. You are a fucking ray of light. You are. I see it. But you have a lot of trauma, and you have mental illness that you are trying to say are gifts that you think all of us have. Paranoia, fear, doubt. Something was always he was always getting the government. He worked for the government. Okay, he had badges somewhere hid. We'd have to go into the post office or the container to talk because they could hear us anywhere else. Oh, okay. Sure, I'll play along. But you are going to get some mental health, right? Well, yeah. When I first got with him in March, because he kept asking me out, and I had just come off of an 8-month relationship, which was a train wreck too, and I was damaged already, and I was about to leave Crestone because I am out of this tiny place. It finally showed me I don't belong here. And his life had been hard. He was sketchy as fuck, but adorable. In his brave attempt to continue to ask me out. 4 times he asked me out in a week and a half. And I was like, you have picked the wrong time. You are out of your mind nuts. I'm going to leave to Alabama. Alabama? Why are you going to Alabama? Because that's where my friend lives. And that's where I'm going because I can't stay here anymore. Well, why can't you stay here anymore? And I told him, I'm not mentally well. I had my shit together, but it's this last relationship wrecked me. I got to go. He said, I'm going to go too because everything's fucked here, but you have to stay, Jeanette. You can't leave Crestone. And then he started saying beautiful things about what he said my energy did for this town. And I'd heard it before, not lately, but sure as fuck before when I first got here. Here in Crestone, it's the micro of the macro. Whatever's happening out there, we get it here in micro version. And I hadn't heard anybody talk about me the way he talked about me. And he did it with such love in his face. And I'm like, I don't even know you. I don't know how old you are. I don't know. Aren't you with that lady, that flea that you've been with for like 6 years? No. Everything's fucked. There's nothing here I want to say, but I can't either. Will you go out with me? Why? And he described what I was wearing the first day he saw me at the Mercantile 4.5 years ago. He never spoke to me before March of this year. He believed that we had previous lifetimes together. He recognized me as someone that he's been with before in other lifetimes. Don't I see it? And I said, no, I'm sorry. I don't. Wow. Yeah, no, but wow. Okay. I was so broken. He was so broken. Someone talks to you like that. Yeah, he was sketchy at the time, but he'd been looming around town in this tiny 4-block town. I kept running into him, and he kept smiling at me. Are you ready to go out now? I'm like, no, I'm a mess. But that fourth time, when I was ready to leave town, and he was like, yeah, me too. I said yes. I said, okay, fine. And it was sweet when we talked, and we texted, and we shared about our pets. And then he showed up for our first date, and he cut off all his dreads. And everybody was like, oh my God, he cut off all his hair. I hadn't paid enough attention to even know he had long dreads. He looked very handsome. I was like, wow, look at you. And he was so open about why I had to stay in Crestone. And how could he help me to stay in Crestone? Because you belong here, Jeanette. You're important here. And I was like, I'd like to be of service. I'd like to be able to help. But there's plans I have. What are those plans, Jeanette? And so we started talking. And he listened. And he had feedback. And we really clicked in bed. And we laughed a lot. And all of a sudden we went from both being super depressed to like, oh my God, you're super awesome. No, you're super awesome. Let me tell you why I think you're super awesome. I said, Kyle, you, at the time, Kyle, I said, I've seen you with the same woman for 6 years. And he's like, oh no, I'm a piece of shit. Let me tell you all the reasons why I'm a piece of shit. But he couldn't speak. And he kept trying to, and the confusion started coming into this. And then he started talking out loud. And when he was trying to tell me his side of why he thought he was a piece of shit, the schizophrenia just went haywire. And I was like, oh, this is really bad. He can't even speak now. He's like, my throat chakra's been closed for years due to my last relationship. I'm not allowed to talk. I always say the wrong thing. I'm not allowed to speak. So, okay. And so it began. I'm really proud of how much patience and love I showed, and I'm really proud of how, for the following months, how vulnerable he became. And because I was trauma informed, I kept my voice low, and I asked questions. And I said, how did that make you feel? Well, what if you were on the other side of that, how would that make you feel? You know you need to shrink, right? Do you mind if I get some numbers for you? And in the middle of March and forward and into April, he blossomed. And he was so happy to be with somebody that he could click with. Yes, in bed, but also like he's like, you're happy. He's like, I've been dying to be happy. You're making me happy because you chill as fuck and you listen and you're willing to be vulnerable. And you actually, it was the autism in him. He's like, oh, there's a tool. Yeah, let me tell you about this tool that you know will help you when you're in distress. hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of talking. And he was broke as fuck. And I had just been broke as fuck. But out of the love and the energy and the people finding out that I was going to leave because there was no job for me here, 3 different people, the mercantile, the hardware store, and the Tea Road Brewery. Oh, you ain't going nowhere. Here's some hours. Here's a job we're going to create for you over here. And oh, we're going to start pizza over here. You're good. You're not going anywhere. And then I got my taxes. And all of a sudden, this man who was very broken, very sketchy, but so eager to be happy, allowed me the privilege to take care of him. Because he says, I've always taken care of other people, and you've done more for me. You cooked for me. He gained weight. He looked gorgeous like he did there. And he was like, I'm just not used to this. So like, it's okay to have this. You're allowed to be broken. You're allowed to be taken care of. Please let me take care of you. Because I see what all is going on. And brother, you got so much awesomeness. And I needed to be validated. Like, you have instantly validated me from the first date on. I'm super grateful for you. And I'll be happy to help you, because I know that in the last 4.5 years that I've seen you here, I know that you are one of the people that are also important here. You just need some help. You just need some love. You just need some truth. Okay, but you're gonna need to get a shrink. And he, whenever anyone that's avoidant and depressed and schizophrenic and everything, whenever there's that massive love burst, then he would retract. He's like, no, I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna leave. I'm gonna throw my phone away, and no one's ever gonna hear from me again. And I would be like, did I do something wrong? No, I just know that, this is gonna work. It's never gonna work, because, like, why would you stay with me? And I'm like, well, why did you ask me out? If that's what he's like, I never thought I'd actually get you. And you've done more for me in this bit than anyone's done for me before. You feed me, you let me stay here, you ask about my dreams, he didn't want to build anymore, and I was like, don't be silly. You're a great builder. He showed me the houses that he had built, and I was like, you are amazing. But you need some mental health issues that you need to work through. And I will give you 2 years. I never changed those first few months. I never changed it. 2 years. You can be as fucked up as possible, provided you keep listening, working with these tools, and work your way towards a therapist. And you definitely need to take at least a 2-year journey. And I will gratefully tell you all about why that's important. What do you mean? You know how you keep randomly saying, oh, I gotta go. I'm just gonna go throw my phone away and never be seen. That's your soul crying out for you to take the hero's journey out. I had to do it. Mine lasted 2018 to 2020. I was on the road traveling. It'll heal you, but you have to go by yourself. Yeah, I'll just go by myself and just, no. Plan it. Don't just randomly fuck it off. Just plan it. Well, I don't have any money right now. Everything's fucked right now. I'm just gonna get in, go somewhere and just fuck off. It's like, no, that's not how you do it. You plan it out a little better than that. Right now, you're kind of a mess. But you're getting better and you're doing it really fast. I'm super impressed. Because I told them I did not move as fast as you're moving towards healing. You're open to it. And whenever you fucking trip out, and often he did, one day out of nowhere, where he was like, I am so happy. I just feel so good. He broke up with me via text in the morning, which after all the process we had been doing and how happy we were, and I was like, oh my God, we're both coming alive again. What do you mean? Just so the last relationship really fucked me up, and it's years of it, and I'm not ready for another relationship, and I thought that you were never actually going to go out with me, and even if you did, it wasn't going to be permanent, and because I need to go heal. Okay, fine. Yeah, you do. It's called the hero's journey. You have to go. But it tripped me out initially. Like in my head, I knew that he was saying the right things, but we were already kind of trauma bonding. And I completely fell apart that day. And I sent him messages because I had trippedly told him about my trauma, but so lightly that it was just like, no, but this happened, but this is the tools I used. And I said to him, thank you for catching this quickly. I think it was really cowardly of you to do it via text like this. But don't ever do this to somebody that you don't know well, because as much patience and love as I've shown you with your mindfuckery and heartbreakiness right now, the fact is that I actually come from a lot of abuse, and I didn't need another heartbreak like this. But thank you for at least doing it quickly. And then I proceeded to just completely fall apart by still going to work. And I am not a heavy drinker, so I, first time ever, just got drunk. This hit me so hard, and it was so out of nowhere. I got drunk, and I said, I'm fucked up at work. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to Alabama. And then he's like, I've never seen you fucked up at work. I don't get fucked up at work. Fuck everything. I'm going to Alabama. He comes, brings me soup, chocolate, and a fancy drink from the Cloud, and it goes in there, and I see him. I'm like, why is this motherfucker in here? And he's like, please make sure she eats. She needs to eat. She needs to eat. When I don't eat, I get all crazy. She needs to eat. Please make sure she gets it. And tell her I'll be here after work at 7. I will be here. Tell her I'll be here. We can talk. Okay. And that was the beginning of a pattern. Every 2 weeks, without fail, everything would be going great, and then he'd freak out and run away. And within hours, he'd be back. And I was like, you need to get a shrink. I'm going to get numbers for you. Thank you for always showing back up and always doing it quickly. And he's like, well, it's like I want to go, but you know, I really love what we have here. I said, I do too. Let's get you some mental health. I went to Doré at the Merc. I went to Elaine. They got me numbers. I said, but you have to call. No, you have to call. And it took several weeks to finally get there. He agreed if we went in as couples therapy, because the schizophrenia in him, the paranoia, the more attached he got, the more the paranoia came out. Because schizophrenia sucks that way. But I stood my ground, and I never lied. I never went under, I never, like most people, under that much stress when someone that you care about and are falling in love with, and you see the potential of, and you see them go from kind of sketchy running around to like becoming, like, his shoulders were coming. He was proud. He went from being really sketchy in public to, yeah, let's just walk down the street. His confidence was coming. And so ultimately, the 2-week pattern fucked with me so much that my ego started to present itself. And then I remembered he's younger than I was when I started my shadow work. And I'm trying to tell him to do his shadow work. And here I am getting triggered like this. How much do you love this man? How much potential do you see? my heart said, let's go all in. Accept his patterns. Was that toxic and dumb of me? Of course it was. I'm not anywhere near healed enough myself to have taken this man on like this. But I did it out of love. And it half drove me insane. And so the pattern continued. And it kept going because all of a sudden I did convince him to finish building his house. And all of a sudden, the more I encouraged things that he said he was never going to do again, and the more he was like, okay, I'll do it, the more vulnerability would come out. And all of a sudden I found out he had a daughter. And that's where the main shame came from his world, because of the circumstances of him as a very young man in a toxic relationship. He was left with a baby girl living on a boat. The mom took off, and the mom's grandparents showed up with money and a contract saying, look at you, you can't take care of yourself, much this kid, sign here. And half an hour after he did, that girl was already gone, and he regretted it ever since. And I'm like, oh, we found the main reason why someone of your caliber thinks you are absolutely worthless. All right, let's work with this. And then we talked all about connecting with her. It was very difficult for him to talk about. And I was very patient and very careful. And at once said, can we try just a microdose of DMT? Would you let me guide you through this? And the breakthrough that went through that ceremony. He sobbed and he sobbed and he sobbed and he sobbed. And then after that ceremony, he was like, I am going to get rid of this house. I'm going to finish putting it together a little more like you suggested. I'm like, you worked on that house forever. You built it from the ground up. It's beautiful. It's great. Just do a little bit more so you can get some more money out of it so that it's not all that wasted. Since you don't want to keep it. And I did try to get him to keep it, because I'm like, if you have a house and you have water and you already have the water, you have the well, you have electricity through all the system that you put together. You're so close to having a house. What's wrong with that? Would give you a better chance of having her. You said so yourself. Why don't you want to finish it? No, there's too much. There's too much here. I got to get rid of it. All right. Will you help me? Will you let me help you? Do you really want to help me? Yes. I came here to Crestone to learn how to build sustainable, awesome homes in the Crestonian way. And he did. He let me. And that's when he really started falling in love with me. And there was another shift, because he's like, you did more in one day working on this house with me with such joy, such eagerness, than my former partner did the entire time I was supposedly building this for her. And I'm like, really? She never helped? No, I'm actually still taking her trash out for her and putting her water and stuff. Yeah, I'm sorry, you're still doing what? Oh, well, I do that. I help people that need my help. If I said I was going to help them, I will always be there for them, even if it wrecks other things. So I hope this doesn't wreck us. But yeah, I'm still helping her out and doing stuff for her. Are you still with her? And that's when I realized how easy it was for him to lie. And where he had told me he hadn't been with her for 6 months, that's the time I found out, oh, she's still on property. And you slept with her 2 months ago? And you asked me out? You shouldn't have done that. He was like, I know, but I've told you now, so it's okay. You can't argue that. When you've dealt with such fucking assholes and liars like I have, you can't argue that. You're like, all right, you were truthful. Thank you for telling me the truth. I know I could. Okay, cool. Keep doing that. He finished the house and paid her off. She moved off property. And we're like, you're doing great. We had appointments set for the first week, like right after the 4th, but after that weekend, because I work restaurants and stuff. We'll make appointments. And I will go ahead and finally make them for you. You're making incredible progress. Look at all you've done. It's because you were helping me, Jeanette. And I'm like, you have any idea how much you're helping me? I came here to build. And I'm so sick of not having fun with my partner. And I'm having fun with you. But I'm excited. And then the narcissism came out because I started getting busy. And I started working at the charter school, and all of a sudden, he shifted. He became, for about 3 weeks, an absolute child. And for those people that saw that video that was posted, this is the time frame I was speaking of. Back in April, he tried to hang himself right in front of me. Yes, he did. He was doing such superficial, childish things that were massive cries for help that were not making any sense. And I'm like, what is this controlling shit? Why are you constantly checking my phone? Why are you this, that, and the other? Is it, oh, you're a cutter now? Those are really superficial wounds. Like, what are you doing? He shifted because he had started to get things going, and then he had to let the house go. And all that meant. And he didn't want to deal with that. So he wanted to manipulate my time. And he started being jealous of me taking time to put my courses together. I was trying to get, what? This is my work. Where is this coming from all of a sudden? And then it started getting harder because all of a sudden he turned into an 8-year-old. A bratty one that would not leave me 1 minute of peace. And I asked him, what's with this superficial try to hang yourself shit? Like, there's not even anything, there's nothing, you're trying to cut yourself. I have chef's knives. Like, they look like cats. Like, what is this? And that was the second round of me absolutely saying, okay, you have got to get the fuck out of this space. You are so worried about what other people think about you in this town. You need to humble your ass down and go work at the Merc, go work at the T-Road. I will get you jobs there. You need to get back out there because you being in this bubble after a little bit of success is making you retarded. Like, stop it. You're acting completely this isn't sexy. Stop it. I didn't take it seriously because those attempts were bullshit. It was a bratty child looking for attention and literally putting his lip up like, and I was like, what the fuck is this? It was ketamine, a fuckload of it mixed with alcohol and fuck all what else, because it turned probably cocaine. Now that I think about it, he didn't have much money, but he had borrowed money to get glass supplies to finish the house. So he started acting really fucking weird. And I didn't allow it. And I said, okay, let's get you a job. And he said, are you willing? He's like, yeah. He said, because he was like, I could, all his little narcissistic tactics that he was pulling, I was like, no. You're not dealing with an idiot here. Boundaries. If you don't like it, get the fuck out. He'd always return. Started carrying his backpack around because his clothes I had made spot for him. He would 5-6 times a week he'd repack his stuff over I didn't feel like not doing my assignment to make sure I had my class ready for school, or no, I am going to go and run poetry because that's what I do, and I'm not going to sit here and argue about googly goo because you're doing word salad shit. You need to get a job. You need to get out of this place and start. And because I was such a bitch about it, and he was so shocked that all his tactics and his narcissistic tendencies weren't working, I was like, nah, I seen you act like a fucking incredible man. And I'm super proud of how much better you're doing. And these tactics, this is bullshit, and I'm not buying it. And I'm not putting out with it. Get the fuck out. Come back when you can act straight. Sometimes that took up to 2 days. But man, was there calls and texts. I kept running with it because he quickly learned that as long as he kept showing up, and he always would go on his knee, and I'd be like, what'd you learn? What you got to say? And by the way, doing all this, I wasn't always like, oh, dead on. I would randomly freak the fuck out too. And then collect myself. And remember, you were like this too, Jeanette. Just keep your shit together for him. Make those appointments. That little bit, 3-week bit, sucked hard. But we got through it. And he got the jobs. And he was excited about being able to go back into the community that he so desperately wanted to be part of and be a bright light in. And he was. A lot of times his mental health would make it so that he couldn't act right. And he would flake, I guess. But not with the time that he was with me. When he got to work, it's like, okay, I got it. Got both jobs. First week of work. The house is about to go up for sale. The next week we have appointments. Initially, it was supposed to be for couples therapy because that's the only way he'd go because he's not going without me. When I finally took the fucking phone and said, if you're not going to call, I'm going to call. We're doing this. Are we doing this? Yes. All right, let me call. I started dialing the number. Snatch the phone from me. I'll do it. And I'll go by myself. But you have to drive me. Yes, absolutely. I was so proud, so excited. Again, this was amongst these happy moments where these little breakthroughs, these little triumphs were in the midst of dealing with his paranoia, dealing with his schizophrenia, where he thought that we were telepathically communicating all day, and he was so mad that I wouldn't admit it. Where he thought, I'm sure you have other boyfriends. I'm like, no, I'm not polyamorous like your last one. I am very monogamous, and there is no one else. And I continued to sacrifice my time and my energy because I kept seeing shifts in him. And as quickly as he went through that 3-week bullshit, like, cut myself here and I'm gonna try to hang my, and it was like acting like an 8-year-old pouty boy. We got through that. Huge success. Then July 4th came. And here he was. He had just started working at the Merc. The house was ready to go. The therapy session was set. And for some reason, he went across the street. This is such a tiny town. But his ex-girlfriend had decided to get together with his best friend that he came here with from Florida 8 years ago or whatever it was. And they're across the street. Her car's always there. For the first 2 months, because of his schizophrenia and his depression, he would sit in this bed and I'd have to hold him and he'd be like, I can hear them fucking. I will not say more than that. It tortured him. And for 2 months, thankfully, I got him through it. Because baby, you got me now. What the fuck you need that bitch for? I don't want her. I just don't, I can't, we're too close. I need to not be so close. All right, let's start going to your house. Can't go to my house because she's stealing property. Okay, well, she's almost out. It's going to be okay. Okay. I didn't even worry about her. Ever being in between us. July 4th. The day before, he said, I want to go over there and talk to Brad, the best friend that had. I'm like, we just processed for the last 2 months how betrayed you felt and how torturous this was. Why are you going to go over there? Oh, because he had just had some success and was about to go to therapy, so self-sabotage had to kick in, because that's what mental health issues do to you. And I said, this is not a good idea. You have a right to respect the feelings that you've processed. Why would you go over there? Well, I need friends too. Oh yeah, you saw someone addict and he needed drugs. Sorry, that's an assumption. That is a total assumption. All I know is that on July 4th, that morning, I had to go to work at 8 a.m. So I was covering somebody's shift that was in the morning, and then I had to do my shift, and then I had to do a parade because being part of the poetry thing at the T Road, and we were being part of the parade, and then I had to go cook at the pizzeria there at the T Road. So I had a full day. And that night before, after he started hanging out over there, he was acting sketchy again. And I was worried. But we were about to go to therapy, so it's going to be okay. And he started work, and he's going to be fine. Mental health things are, the energy shifting here. He's dealing, this is, he's going to have help, professional help soon. I was told by his sister this week, Jeanette, you have no idea how bad he could get. This was not a bad case. He had been way worse before, and he never killed himself. Then why you do it now? And I'm like, fuck, this seemed hella hard. What do you mean? But no, he was doing nowhere near as bad as before. Well, that night, but when she described how he could be just a little bit here and there, I was like, whoa, I've never seen that. Well, I had seen it once. I saw it on July 4th. The look in his face was, I don't know what he was on. I don't know what took over. But I'm 44 years old, and I will not put that much effort into someone that out of nowhere will completely shift to this degree. That those 3 weeks of him being childish and trying to, cut himself and do nothing like this. And he had attempted one other thing that's important that I'm not going to omit. Doing that childish state. Backing up here a little. I asked him to leave for 1 hour because it was deep into week 3 of him acting like a fucking brat. Like a little tiny, I was, you fuck's wrong, stop it. Leave for an hour, come back. You're driving me absolutely insane. Leave for 1 hour. I'm locking the door. Leave the keys. You leave for an hour. I need a break. And since March until deep into June, I had been patient as a motherfucker. And when I freaked out, and he freaked out, we were there for each other very quickly. But this 1 hour, I said, I don't know if you go sit in your car. I just need silence for a minute. He had gone to his house, nonstop calling me, and said he attempted to hang himself. And I'm like, bullshit. Is that the way that he had talked and been in the last 3 weeks? And I'm like, I asked for a fucking hour. Is it really that hard? Fuck you then, Jeanette. I'm going to kill myself. I'm like, the fuck you are. What the fuck? I didn't know his history. I went to sleep. I'm like, this guy's bullshit. I need rest. This has been exhausting. And then he showed up at 4 a.m. and his leg was all fucked up because he was too drunk and he was apparently trying to hang a light, and And I thought he was joking until I saw his ankle. And then I was like, okay, let's get that appointment. And now you're back up to where we were up to July 4th. Because then I realized, oh no, you got to get help. You got to go out. You're going to have to lead, Kai. When this house sells, you're going to have to go. You're going to have to go do your hero's journey because you really did try to hurt yourself. Perfect time. Then Leonard here came into the picture. Hi, Lenny. Say hi. He had a dog that he really cared about, that he had given to his ex across the street for the sole reason that she was dating his ex-best friend, who unfortunately due to cancer his wife had just died. And I'm like, wait, what? She's with what do you mean? He's like, well, his wife died just 5 months ago, and those kids, what do you, she doesn't even like kids. I don't understand why she's over there, but I'm going to give her the dog so that the kids have the dog, because when I was their age, 16 years old, this and this and this and this happened to me. And it was moments like that that caused the dissonance you are experiencing while hearing me talk about this. I was sexually abused for 14 years, so I knew that he had issues with his sexuality, and I knew he had issues with obvious, just massive signs of childhood sexual abuse, sexual abuse. And I hadn't, there were so many other things to work through that I figured we'll get to that later, once you have a shrink, because I learned the hard way many times, you don't bring that shit up. But there in that moment, he brought it up. And I put a note on that, and I went and got him a dog. And what an incredible dog. I love you. And so while he sat here mending his leg, he had a puppy, and he had let out this information. And I was very careful with it. I wasn't going to go anywhere near it till much later. Now we're back up to July 4th. I don't know what demon fucking entity, whatever the fuck was in him, but that was not my boyfriend that day. And he'd never laid hands on me before. But he was crazed, saying, admit you're polyamorous. What? Again with this shit? Have I not proven myself enough to you? Do I not completely let you go through my phone? And I've invited you to both my work so that you know, and you know who I'm working with, and you're there. And what the fuck more can I do? I'm tired. I need to go to sleep, and you are freaking me out. I'm not going anywhere. I mean, like I said, you need to go. If I need sleep. I have another double tomorrow because I was stepping in for somebody, and I was worried about the energy that was happening. And he wouldn't leave, and he wouldn't leave, and suddenly this was his house, and this is his pets, and I'll have to go, or he'll call the cops. What? Get the fuck out of my house. And so an 8-hour epic began. I saw him shift personalities several times in that night. And then I started hearing him say, tell Flea, call Brett, don't get me out of here. Excuse me? Since when are their names brought up as people that you can call upon for rescue? That was triggering. And then I got upset, and I said, you and I are done. And you get the fuck out. You're freaking me out. And not, this is too much. This new thing, whatever the fuck this is, no. And he shoved me on this bed 3 times, and he cocked his arm back. He said, admit you're polyamorous. And I would not admit. But he saw fear in my eyes, so he uncocked his arm, and then my boyfriend was back for a second there. And then I was like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck are you on? And it got ugly again. He cocked his arm back again. And I don't remember exactly how I said it, but it was, I really thought I was about to get my face broken. So I said, what do you think this town is going to do to you if you fucking pull that punch? I said, and then the masculine in me came out, and it was on. Get the fuck out, get the fuck out, get the fuck out of my house. This is not your house. You're no longer welcomed here. No one assaults me in my own house. No one prevents me from fucking exiting my own house. No one shoves me on my own fucking bed. This is, I have done so much for you, and this is, fuck, you just fucked up. Get the fuck out of my house. He tried every tactic in those 8 hours after that. I mean, it was just absolute insanity. He wouldn't leave. He wouldn't leave. He wouldn't leave. But he wouldn't quit saying the most crazy shit. And my masculine was fully up, and I was done. I'm like, this is sad. This is unfortunate, because I know me well enough to know that when I'm done, I'm fucking done. And motherfucker, you just fucked up. You just fucked up. Done. And I thought it was. I went to call Peace Patrol when he locked me out of my own house, when I was knocking on the door next door to get my professional mental health person's help. He locked me out with my pets inside here. And all of a sudden, from going from like, I can't move, call people to help me, to I mean, just one of the many tactics, to completely barricading my window. And if you know my apartment, my God, it's hard to do. And all of a sudden he went from, I can't function, you need to call people to, come get me, to, because he wouldn't leave, to boom, just locking everything down. Well, my friend next door had a key, barricaded to the door. I got my cat. I got my Leonard. And Rosie was hiding because she's good at that. So I went next door and I said, the Peace Patrol told me to call the police, call the sheriffs. Well, we're in the middle of fucking Crestone at the time. We had a shitty phone only. And so the call wouldn't go through. I have to be at work at 8. It's 6 a.m. My mental health friend that knows about this thinks he'd go to sleep. We'll deal with this. I took a nap. My brain was absolutely wrecked. I get to work and I'm like, this motherfucker is in my house. And he needs to go, and he won't go. And Matt said, my boss and friend, I'm going to go get a lock from the hardware store, and I'm going to go change the lock because he has the keys and I can't find them. I will change the locks tonight. And so I said, I'm going to check if that motherfucker's still over there. I walk over here. He's acting like nothing happened. And I splashed him with a shitload of water. And I said, the next motherfucker that's going to come through this door is not going to be me. It's going to be Matthew Johnson. So deal with that. And I went back to work. Sure as fuck. 5 minutes later, there's his car going away. And I think, great. This misery that was so beautiful, that has now turned to complete shit, is over. And then Elaine Johnson comes in and says, Jeanette, get into this office. You need to call the sheriffs. I'm like, no, Matt changed the lock. I'm good. He can't get in. It's all good. Jeanette, this is a mental health issue. And in this county, the only way that you're going to get him any mental health is he has to be in the system. I was so exhausted. I'm like, I can't call the cops on him. I'm not really. It's gone. It's fine. It's over. It's nobody. You need to make this phone call. And when Elaine Johnson, it's serious like that with you, with her calmness. He's like, Jeanette, you know how he's hurting himself. You know he has mental health issues. You know you're trying to get him out. If you don't make this call, he's not going to get the mental health he needs. That's going to be on you. If you want that, make the call. And she left the office. And I did the thing I never thought I'd in a million years I'd do. I called little cops, sheriffs, on someone I loved that I thought I was going to be able to fuck off, because no, too much. He went too far. When that sheriff showed up, I was an absolute mess. And even through the mess, I stated repeatedly in front of my mental health friend that also works there, this is a mental health issue. He does not belong in jail. He needs to be evaluated. These are the crazy schizophrenic things he does. He thinks he works for the government. He thinks that his mother and his ex, because they constantly still talk, are somehow in cahoots with the FBI. All this shit. I told them he's been cutting himself. He check his wrist, check his da-da-da-da. Mental health, mental health, mental health, mental health. All the victims advocates that I talked to in the next few days. This is a mental health. And they kept trying to worry about my mental health. And I said, no, I'm worried about his mental health. How do we get him help? They're like, no, we need to get you help. Fuck that. How do we get him help? Because this is a mental health issue. And the more I spouted that, the more I realized nothing's happening. He got immediately out of jail. The restraining order took a while to get. And he signed it, but he didn't know what he signed because, and I was so fucking like dissonant at the time. He wasn't supposed to be anywhere near either of my jobs or be visible from my door. But this is a town of 3.5 fucking blocks. And he just kept showing up, smiling in his awkward, autistic way. He was trying to seem cool. Yeah, he came out as totally cocky, and I didn't know who I was dealing with anymore. It was a very weird month. And the report I put into the DA and everything, it was all, this is a mental health issue. He needs mental health. He does not belong in jail. He needs help. But I never done this sort of process before, so I didn't know that they don't care. They're just going to give you court dates. And he just has to bond himself out. And then I finally got the paperwork, so I kept seeing him. And one of the last times I seen him, when it finally clicked, he looks different. He's walking different. He's trying to show off. What is he trying to? Oh shit! He looks really healthy. In the month that we were separated, he started working with Juniper. And he found a sacred space that I'd been asking him. You need a sacred space to so every 2 weeks when you freak out, you can go there and you, no, I'm not doing that. You just want to kick me out. I'm not doing that. I don't know. He, in that month where we were separated and that restraining order was up, and I thought, he's fucking done. And I kept seeing him around town, and I'm like, he's just, what a dick. Now he's just fucking being cocky. No. He was doing the work. He was exercising 2 hours a day. He set up his mushroom room where he used to make mushrooms and made his sacred space. You know how he made it? And I know people thought this was psychotic in him and was a red flag to run, but he did a replica of my space in his own way, and he used a lot of my stuff that he had in storage for me. And it was absolutely beautiful. And he did 10 art projects, including a fucking vision board of all the places we were going to go to and things and what our house would look like and everything else. And he did a sigil with our names together. Yes, kind of. This is little Kai Kai. He's 8 weeks old, and he was named before he killed himself. So we met him, and he approved of the name. So nobody gave a shit about his name because it's Kai Kai, and Kai Kai's amazing. Point is, when I walked into that space, after realizing, oh, he really does love me, and he's actually making changes. And how did I know this? Because after a month, when I had gone to the Peace Patrol and talked to 3 different people thoroughly, amongst other people in the community, I don't think he read the thing he signed, and I don't think he understands that every time he comes around, it's against the law, and I could be literally naked beckoning him from the balcony. It doesn't matter. The restraining order is such that if he's seen around this perimeter, like he's been doing here to try to show off, I guess. I wasn't sure what the fuck's going on yet, but I talked to 3 different Peace Patrol people and 2 other people in the community. Somebody needs to take this. I even made a copy and it said, this is the restraining order. It was late in getting here because, hi, it's Crestone. Could you explain to him that he's risking a year in jail by being within my eyesight? And every time I see him, I started realizing how much I still loved him, because I was more worried about him ending up in jail because he was too mentally unstable to recognize that he was putting himself in that position. And that was when all the sheriffs were hanging out constantly more and more because it was summer. And I was like, everybody said, don't worry about him, fuck him. And I'm like, no, you're Peace Patrol, go explain it to him. And then some people did. And Karaz finally, my friend and co-worker here, he said, no one in the Peace Patrol is taking the time to thoroughly explain to him that he's risking a year by being around me. He's too mentally unstable to recognize that. Can somebody please let him know that he's risking a jail term for this stupid shit of trying to show himself off, I guess. As I later realized. Karaz goes and talks to him, and I'm working the pizza, and Karaz comes back because the park is right next to, everything's next to each other here. Karaz comes back, and Karaz has been advising me that I should stay out of this relationship for very many good reasons. But when he comes back, he's like, Jeanette, he hugged me and sobbed when I told him that you were scared of him. You told him what? Well, I was saying, you gotta stay away from her. I was not scared of him. You told him I was scared of him, and that's when I realized, oh my God, I'm still in the losing. So I knew that, what that would do. I felt it. And I was like, this is fucking insane. Where's the mental health people? Nowhere around. And then my cat disappeared. My Kina cat. The love of my life. On August 3rd, she disappeared. And all of a sudden, all of my focus went to, where the fuck is my cat? She never was found. It's been 85 days now. But everyone around town started telling me, he's obsessed with you. He probably took a cat. No, he wouldn't. But the more people told me, and the more days she was gone, I finally got so heartbroken and distraught that I set up with Brett. Where's Kai? Where's Kyle? I need to talk to him. Oh, well, he's kind of afraid of you because, he knows you hate him now. No, I don't give a fuck what he thinks. I says, I've been doing nothing but trying to get him to understand that he's putting himself, who gives a fuck? I said, this isn't about him right now. It's about me. I need to see his face and ask him a question. Can you set it up? Within minutes, Kai was at the library. He's on his way. He's like, are you sure you don't hate him? I just need to ask him a question. I walk in there, shaking. I'm shaking. And this is the first time, because every time I saw him that previous month, I'd immediately turn around and walk away because he's risking a year if we're in the same perimeter because of the restraining order. But I go up those stairs, I go into that space, and the love on his face And the fear that I was going to reject him in that moment was palpable. And I start unable to speak because I feel how much love is coming at me, and he looks amazing. And there's such gentleness and love in his face. And I was like, did you take my Kina? Or however the fuck I said it, because in that moment I was lost. I was like, and then he's like, no. And he explains in detail what he's been up to. And he's on his knees. And he's like, if there's any possibility he will ever give me another chance, just know I will be waiting. And I am exercising 2 hours a day, and I'm doing art, and I did my sacred space, and I'm so great, Jeanette. I've changed so much, and I'm working every single day now. Yeah, across the street where you were risking a year. Well, I wanted you to see. He was working every day. He'd take his shirt off whenever I go by, and I was like, damn, I see the muscles. Where the fuck were those before? It was stupid. It was like, once we had that conversation, it was just like, I don't give a fuck about the restraining order. We're sneaking around, and all of a sudden my elders in this town who wake up early, thank you, Steve, Jeanette, I need to talk to you. And all of a sudden, all the people that cared were like, this is not a good idea, Jeanette. Oh, but you should see what he did with his space and how much he loves me. I've never been loved that much in my life. He visually had it. He was doing a portrait of me. He did a vision board. They're like, Jeanette, that's psychotic. No, he's autistic. It's beautiful. But I told him, and I did it quickly. Kai, July 4th can never be repeated again. And on our second time of being together, reunited, I said, and he was so happy. I was like, reality break here. You need to read this report. This is what I said to DA. And there it was. I'll never know what would have happened. Actually, I do know. They would have just continued. I always had to set a boundary. You can't ever repeat July 4th again. This is what you did. This is what I sent. This is a reality check of what I've done for you all these months. You need to go on your journey. He sobbed to the point where I thought he was going to vomit when he read that report. He's like, why are you even here then? If I'm a piece of shit. He's like, no, you just need to finish working towards your mental health, and you need to go on your journey. Oh, you want me to go away? I don't want to go anywhere. I'm healed. You know, like, it's been a month. You are not healed, but you have made an incredible start. Keep it going. That's when I found out in that week, very quickly. That Flea had been hanging out with him that entire month. And who told me this? Flea. What? You were hanging out with? Oh, so you guys were together? Well, we did have sex twice because he was so sure that you were never going to see him again and hated him, because after that court date, when he saw how much you were averse to him, we did sleep together twice. And I was like, okay, well, that's fair. We were broken up. I was never going to see him again. I get it. I processed that. And I'm like, twice? You were hanging out every day, but, well, he's in love with you, Jeanette. All he did was talk about you. He made his house look like your, yeah, I know. So you were there for all that? Yep. Do you know he loves me? Yep. Why are you fucking him then? Because I consider him my husband, and I'm always here for him, and I want you to know that. That was mid-August. He had just done this incredible, beautiful, he was the healthiest I'd ever seen him. He was working every day. And after he fucked her twice in the midst of all that, he said, I can't fuck you again. I love Jeanette. But you kept hanging out? Yeah, and I just want you to know that I'm very much in love with him, and I love him unconditionally, and I will be there unconditionally no matter what he does ever. Well, thanks, Flea, for letting me know that. Hey, Kai, this bitch cannot be around. This is an enemy to me. A truthful one, thank you. But no, this is not a good idea. Well, yeah, I mean, but I thought we were totally broken up. Yeah, I get it. I know you fucked. It's cool. It's fine. We were broken up. It's fine. But this isn't gonna. This is not good. She had broken up with Brett, and now she's just confessed her eternal love forever for you. This is not at all what I had heard about her, and that's not certainly how she'd been acting. Oh wait, you just sold your house and you have a grip of money now, and you're looking hot as fuck, and you're healthy, and you're working, and you're did. And so it began. From the mid-August until he hung himself on October 18th, she wouldn't go away. And this video is so fucking long, and this is the part that I do not want to discuss, because I lost my motherfucking mind. All that effort, all that shift, all that change, all the boundaries I set and made him keep and yet broke for myself. By this point, I was exhausted, but I wasn't even ready for what was about to happen right after I had processed that, yeah, that happened in July. The dissonance that I hadn't seen in him except in the beginning, like when he was just running around asking me out, and I was like, what's wrong with you? I began to see again. We had been transparent as fuck. She made sure to let me know. Well, yeah, no, I'm always there for him. And all of a sudden I'm like, you need to tell me what's going on here. And he says, well, she knows that I'm in love with you, and that we tried to fuck, but it didn't. But I don't know. She needs windows for her house, and she needs a heater, and she just comes around. And all of a sudden, I couldn't hold my shit together, and I freaked out. And I got all crazy. And I was like, no, you're fucking her. I'm sure you're fucking her. She just told me you're fucking her. Anyway, I said, you can't have her around. And I lost my shit. And he got drunk. And I don't know what else he did. And we had one of the most bizarre nights that I would never fucking put on anyone. It was an insane asylum. And we were both insane. And so the next morning when I finally got home, I was late to work and everything. I was just like, I can't do this if you're going to put her in the picture. It's too much. And you're doing so good. Okay, fine. And he called her and said, I can't hang out anymore. Because I'm choosing Jeanette. I'm doing good. We're doing good. She's not comfortable with this. And I'm sorry. No. And for a little bit, and then we started figuring out design on the little house he was in, which he ended up hanging himself in, and that we were calling the beach house because we had redesigned. He's from Florida, I'm from California. It was a beach house. We're gonna have a beach house in Colorado. Great Airbnb. And then we're gonna have the container that's gonna be a saloon. It was so much fun getting that excited and putting that together, and he started buying all the stuff for it. But then he started acting sketchy because she wasn't going away. And I got sketchy and was like, I started acting like he was with the paranoia that I've been experiencing, and let me check your phone. All of a sudden, I want to check his phone. And one night in August, after that bizarre, I was like, I gotta I can't do this. Like I said 1,000 times. Like we both said 1,000 times, but we'd always come right back together within hours. He's like, hey, he texts me, can I go to Flea's to get my hair cut? What? Okay, sure. Thanks for letting me know you were going to do that. Okay, cool. Can I come take a bath after? Yes. And here we are back. Okay. Like it's toxic. That'd be pattern of behavior that we did for all those months. Like all our triggers would push us apart and then we'd go right back together. But at least we did it within hours. So I'm like, okay, I really don't have to worry about it. She really is staying away. She's just getting a haircut. And then I called. Well, I made dinner in the bath. We start the bath. He's such a bad liar. And the screen wasn't on, and he always wanted the screens to be seen because the schizophrenia was, the paranoia was he always had to see. And I'm like, why isn't the screen on? And I'm like, is she there? No. I'll just be there in the morning. It was a bad night for me because I knew she was there. And the next morning, bright and early, he was across the street working, and it was a beautiful morning. And he showed me the work he was doing again there, and kissed me, and he loved on the dog, and he's like, here, have some money. And I remember saying, why are you giving me money out of nowhere? Like, what, are you guilty? No, the Saturday market's there. Go get stuff for the market, for the house. So I go and get 2 plants, and I get some bread, and and I noticed her looming around, looking at me for the first time, like with anger. And I was like, this bitch, what the fuck is this? Uh-oh. But he's kissing me in front of her. I'm confused. Fuck it. He's like, let's go to the house. I want to show you something. I'm like, okay, but I gotta be back. I got work. Be back. Yeah, we'll get in the truck. Let's go. And he's holding me, and he's letting me, and I'm holding the plants, and we get into the truck. And this is the moment that changed everything. She walks up to the fucking truck on his side and looks at me while talking to him about, you need to get this and this out of the van that was stranded in, that he was holding for her in the property. And he was like, okay, well, me and Janai are going to, I was like, well, don't forget to repeat to me what you're going to bring me. And I'm like, this bitch, why the fuck is she talking to him like that? And he looked so confused. And then I was like, instantly, did you fuck her last night? And then he's like, no, we just slept in the bed together, but with her clothes on. And I'm like, the fuck are you talking? I'm like, did you fuck her last night? And then she's like, what do you think? And then walked away. I got out of the truck. He did not follow. And the next bit, I couldn't even really tell you. I would need my phone that he factory reset the morning before he killed himself. So I have no time. It was such dissonance. He completely disintegrated after that. I completely disintegrated after that. She seemed just fine. Cocky as fuck. But yet every 2-3 days, not hours like before, every 2-3 days, he'd come knocking on my door, get on his knee, and beg for forgiveness and tell me why. And every time he did that, I was so overwhelmed at this point after all these months of this, for it to end like this, and for him to still show up and say, you're my love, I'm fucked up, I'm sorry, I don't know, like, please, like, you hate me now, don't you? It's like, I don't hate you. You need to get away from Crestone, and you need to go away. And if you don't want to go for a 2-year journey, even though you have the money to do so now, will you please look into this 10-day retreat? It'll cost you $5,000. It's in Peru. It's the top fucking thing in the planet for healing. They use everything from yoga to sacred medicines. They do integration, the whole thing. It's literally the best place for healing in the world. Would you please love yourself enough to at least do this $5,000 10-day thing? Because right now you are making no fucking sense, and I am completely heartbroken, and I don't know whether to, I try to hate him. I made a jackass out of myself in public, saying, I don't even fucking see you again, just fucking, blah, blah, blah. Because she's texting me constantly telling me how she's gonna take care of him. And his mother's gonna take, because we're worried about him. Worried about him? He was fucking doing phenomenal till mid-August, when you wouldn't go away. He was dealing with so much shame and so much guilt. And the one thing we had, as paranoid as he was, I knew he hadn't fucking cheated on me. Especially not with her. Everything's dissonance after that. It was just back and forth. What ego? I killed my ego in this relationship. People in this town that care about me were like, you are an idiot. You are acting like a teenager, Jeanette. What type of respect do you expect to get? I had to cry wolf, was told repeatedly. But still, I'm talking to the courts. I'm saying, no, I had told the courts all about how great he was doing. And they, by the way, as of now, 4 weeks ago, cleared the fucking restraining order and dropped the charges, because the entire time I was saying it was mental health, and because of his work in that month with Juniper and going back to work and looking so healthy and being all artistic and creating his own sacred space and even testing, even though he thought he's never going to get me back, he said he was going to manifest back. At least he was going to try. And yeah, he fucked her twice then, and then was like, no, sorry, love Jeanette. And he got me back. But she wouldn't go away. And I wasn't going to move forward in the relationship without him going, you read this and make sure that this July 4th never happens again. What are you going to do? When are you going to take off for your hero's journey? Where's your fucking therapist? You have the money now. What's your excuse? You have to get help. I cannot. There's no excuse left. Look, you started off great. You have money. You have resources. What avenue? It needs to be now, because you are breaking my heart. And this bitch is sending me texts telling me I'll always be there no matter what he does. Oh, so you're just gonna reel him back in now that he has money into the same shit? Nothing has changed, except he was in love and happy, and we kept working through it. But once that distraction came in, forget it. You hate me now, don't you? Every time I know you hate me now. I know you hate me now. You're working for the government, aren't you? What? You must be getting paid by the government. Otherwise, why would you be with a piece of shit like me? What? We had worked through this months before. But the shame was there. And my boundaries were there. And then I fell apart. And then he stopped making sense. But still, the longest in that last bit that we were apart were 10 days, because she had him on his property. And I guess had his keys, because I was like devastated, and he was no access to his phone. And when he finally did, I was like, I need a shrink. I was asking Miss Elaine, because my teacher Robert said, no, Jeanette, you really do need a shrink. You've been dealing with a schizophrenic fucking mess, and you're not even making sense anymore, and you need help, Jeanette. You're gonna need mental health for this. And so I was calling for myself for a shrink, and then he picked up the phone. And it was on video, and he's like, why are you crying? Don't you hate me? You don't want nothing to do with me. Why are you crying? Stop crying. Like, why are you crying so much? Jeanette, stop crying. Where are you? He sends me the address. Hazard Circle? Really? You're fucking kidding me. I almost died that day. Sorry, Ren, I never told you. I drove like a bat out of hell. I was so distraught, so angry. So I don't even know why the fuck I'm driving over there. But he sent me the address. And he kept calling. Are you almost here? Are you almost here? Are you almost here? Jeanette, how fast are you driving? Like 80 miles an hour. I don't know where the fuck I am. It's dark as hell. And she's like, slow down. Honey, slow down. It's 20 miles an hour. And then I almost slid off the road. But when I got there finally, he comes out and he's like, okay, you're actually here. Okay, you're like, you came for me. Okay. Then she comes out. Not a good interaction. I'll say that. He didn't get in the car fast enough for the interaction I was having. And I sped away. And I'm sorry, Ren. I should never have driven your car like that, but I was a mess. I wasn't making any more sense. I was going to work late, and this shit was happening every other day. I was out of my mind. Heartbroken and confused and just like, how did we slip away? Like, he was... Like, the boundaries worked, like calling the sheriffs didn't get him some mental health, but look what it did to help himself. Like, he really does love me. And I just got to convince him to go to this fucking $5,000. Kai, please go. Stop hanging out with these friends of yours. But they're my only friends. Go to this place. I guarantee you'll leave with 10 solid friends for the rest of your life that will literally remind you, remember you're all fucked up and then we did that 10-day retreat in this amazing place. You'll have best friends forever. I think that was the last lucid conversation I had with him. So after that car ride to Hazard fucking Circle, I was like, okay, Jeanette, now will you stop? And then he did what he had always done before. He showed up unannounced and opened the door. And I just fucking hugged him. And he started crying, and I started crying, and he's like, you don't hate me. He said, baby, I can't hate you. I love you too much, but you are acting insane. And so it continued because she wouldn't go away. You guys are friends, right? What? That became the last mantra for the last bits of his life. Oh, you want to be here, but you want to nonstop talk about how I am in cahoots somehow with her? No, you guys are going to be friends. What are you talking about? Please stop talking about her. You just had your dick in her a week and a half ago because you keep showing up and saying, I'm it, but you want me to be friends with her? No, that's never going to happen. She's made it clear she wants you back. You had your dick in her a week and a half ago. Kai, that's not going to happen. And then it was just every night at the... What's happening with the work with the houses? Oh, I'm not doing that anymore. What? You paid me $250 to finish designing the beach house. Could I at least present the fucking final design? Oh, I changed it. I don't need you to help me with it anymore. While in this bed, while randomly, consistently mentioning her name, I just about lost my mental health. Till at 6:30 in the morning, I'm sure Steve noticed, I had my last fucking massive hissy fit with him. I took the jewelry he ripped it through. He's like, you have no respect for me. You won't stop saying her name. Clearly you want to be with her. Well, they're my friends, her and Brett. You should hang out with them. I will never hang out with them. Out of respect for your feelings and for my self. I have no interest I've never hung out with her. I'm fucking not gonna start now. But you guys are so badass. You're both such badasses. Kai, just stop. These are the kind of deafening, insane conversations that he would show up to my house while trying to kiss me and make love to me. I was like, get off me. Just fucking go hang out over there. This is obviously all you want to talk about. And he was like, what happened? I'll never know what happened. His dissonance was so bizarre. He started looking at me like a child going, but I know you guys are friends. No, we're not. Why are you so mad? Why can't you be friends with her? Please leave. Just go. Just go. The Tuesday right before he died, he showed up unannounced. I was so devastatedly drained. I was like, what is it now? What is it, Kai? But he looked different. And he got on his knees. Not one, both. And he held my hands right there and he said, I don't know. I lost track. I was in such dissonance. But he apologized. And it was the most I'd seen him. He had been thinking a lot about his behavior from the beginning of our relationship and to this point. Just days before he kills himself. And he comes in and he admits to having, doesn't matter, in the past for 6 years he did something that he was actually pretty proud of doing that he had kept from me and he wanted me to know. Okay, thank you for letting me know. Thank you for being here again. So I guess that Prius wasn't the last time I saw him. That Tuesday was the last time I saw him, like, actually there. But he was sad. But he's still gonna let me make love to you. I'm like, baby, I'm so proud of you. I know that you have, but you need to go get this. Please, will you look into this? I'm not going anywhere tonight. I'm staying right here. Okay, Kai. He never woke up early. But that Wednesday, he woke up at 8 a.m. And he looked at me super sad. And he just walked out. I thought he went to have a cigarette. And I was like, no, what the fuck? Okay. I gotta go to work. And then Flea contacted his mother and his sister Sarah and gave them my phone number and said, he's with her, and I'm really worried about him. Okay. So Sister Sarah calls me. She's never called me. How did she even get my number? It's a new number. Like, well, Flea said that I needed to call you and that she's worried Kai's gonna kill himself. What? I only had a 3-hour shift, but I had to bail out. And Doree was like, Jeanette, don't do this. Please don't do this. Do not go. Do not go. I said, I'm sorry, I'm going. Sarah called. I never talked to his sister directly. This is real. This might be real. I gotta go check. I go to the property. I don't know what happened from one day to the next. But he looked up and he was so angry and he wouldn't let me in the door. So I sat outside. And the sun was going down because it was late. And he thought I'd left. He thought I was in my car. Ren's car. And he goes out and he goes yelling at because it's dark now. And he goes, what are you doing? Go away. What are you doing just sitting in the car? It's cold out here. Where are you? And I'm like, I've been sitting over here by the porch. I want to sit here because your sister said I shouldn't leave you alone. And 24 hours ago, you were loving on me. And then Now you're angry as fuck. I don't know what's happening. So I'm going to listen to your sister. I'm going to sit here. It's cold out here, Jeanette. Doesn't matter. Your sister said to sit out here. I'm going to sit out here. Bah! But it was shift and he wasn't as angry. He comes back out. Jeanette, it's really cold out here. Aren't you cold? It doesn't matter. I'm not going to leave you alone. Your sister said to come sit out here. And so he let me inside. But first he had to clean everything up. Just had to wait out another 5 minutes because I heard him. It's a mess in here, Jeanette. It stinks. I stink. No, you don't. It doesn't smell in here. Of course it does. It's disgusting. No, it's not. Oh, I see you changed the design. What are you thinking of designing it like now? Whew, I'm not doing any of it anymore. Well, why not? I don't have any more money. What? I don't have enough. You don't have enough money for it. You must have enough money to finish whatever's going on here. Improvise. I'll help you. Jeanette, why the fuck are you here? Why the fuck wouldn't I be? 24 hours ago. Remember? You came, you probably... In retrospect, I realized he was... The place was empty. He was sitting on... He already had the ropes up, but there was 2 of them, and he said it was for a hammock, so... It's such a... That was for the hammock, because that's what he said. And I thought everything was out of the place because it was obviously in the container because he's remodeling. But he's not remodeling anymore. Why is he sleeping on just the... And then she showed up. And he saw this. She went, what the fuck is she doing here? She called and she's worried about you, and that's how your sister got my number. And the fuck? See, you are friends with her. No, I'm not. Your sister called me and told me she got the number from her. You guys are fucking friends. And then it was back to you like... Gratis calls her. Was that you that just showed up? I told you to never fucking come here. Why the fuck are you here? I want you to make sure you're okay because you put it on speaker. I'm okay. I'm here with Jeanette. Well, can I come in and see if you're okay? No, I'm here with Jeanette. I'm okay. I told you not to fucking come here again. I don't trust you. I want to come in and see if you're okay. I'm with Jeanette. I'm okay. Can I not come in and he looked at me and he wasn't there anymore. It was that creepy little fuck that did that weird grin from the July 4th event. And he's like, yeah, come on in. And I was like, why are you inviting her in here? I thought you said you're okay. Because both of your credit cards have the same 3 numbers in line. And I think that she's been taking... He thought he's schizophrenic, so this is probably all fiction. But what he said is like, there's 8 credit cards taken out in my name, and I know you're friends with her, and I know that the J7 phone that you have, Ben, I tagged it, and Ben was in your apartment. Ben, please, brother, never been in my apartment. What the fuck are you? Oh shit, we're at this level of paranoia right now. Not a good moment. It happened fast. And she came in. This was the second time I'd ever sat this long with her. In 4.5 years of living in Crestone, me and Flea had just said hi at the store because I am a clerk and she is a fucking person that shops and lives here. I don't know her. I sure as fuck didn't like the text she was sending me and the fact that all of a sudden she was back in the picture and talking to him and informing me that, oh, you're the problem. How the fuck am I the problem? Fuck you, bitch. Like, I was such a cunt to her. But in this moment, all I could do was sit there. And for 45 fucking minutes, I heard her eat chips, not answer a goddamn question he was throwing at her. Talk in circles, calm as a fiddle, as I sat there completely sobbing as he completely lost his shit. And I had never seen him be that vicious. The things he was saying to her, calm as a fiddle. And then he sees how I'm crying. He's like, see, Jeanette, you're happy. You were happy earlier, and now you're crying. Go away. And you get the fuck out. Both of you get the fuck out. See, Jeanette, you're just sad again now. Come on, you guys are friends. The fuck we are. And thank you, Flea, for telling the truth in that moment. Yeah, we never hang out. We've never hung out. And then Flea's like, oh, I actually hung out that one time when you were living at the T Road above there. We were visiting Ashley and we both went in and saw your room. I don't remember that. That was it. Well, unless you count when you came to the store and collapsed in there, but that's another thing. This is the second time I've ever had a conversation, and I wasn't the one conversing. I was hearing them for 45 minutes. He completely lost his shit, and my dumbass had to be like, wow. Because he said something stupid about like, Jeanette, so you're acting then. Because I know you don't want to be here. Why are you still here? I know you're friends with her. I mean, he was making no sense. And I was like, I am crying because I have feelings and it's my right to cry. And I am not acting. I actually find it, I said something like, this is your karma. For the last 45 minutes, you've screamed and hollered and said, get the fuck out, get the fuck out, get the fuck out, get the fuck out, get the fuck out. How does it feel, Kai? Because remember when I had to do the same to you? That made him feel better, and then he went back to attacking her to the point where he was throwing shit at her. She didn't flinch. She kept eating her chips and saying, I'm not going anywhere. I want to make sure you're okay. 45 minutes of that was a long, long time. And I couldn't even breathe anymore. And the tears hadn't stopped from my eyes. It was the fucking most disturbing. I'm like, well, fuck, if I'd been dealing with you for 6 years, I would have fucking lost my shit too. Especially with all the mental health issues he already had. She didn't answer a damn question. And when he brought up the cards, he's like, cars? I only have one car, you know that. Cards! How many cards did you take out of my name? I was like, I'm out. I walked out. You know how I know she didn't give a fuck about his mental health at that point? Because she was there to make sure he was okay. But the second I got up and walked out that room, that little shed thing, the beach house, she immediately followed. And I was cussing up a storm. But I was walking away towards the car. And she's like, Jeanette, hold on, I can't hear you. What are you saying? You have your back to me, I can't hear you. I turned around, saw there was no emotion in her face, just like, and I was like, you are nothing but fucking trouble. And I got in the car and I left. And I came back, like almost 2 hours later. And I thought she was gone. And I parked outside so that I wouldn't disturb Minty because my friend's car's lights are up. And I saw that he was in there and he was on another phone. And I realized, I thought he destroyed his phone. Whose phone is that? What the fuck? So it turns out she was still on the property. And because she had seen that I had allowed him to sift through my phone, she was doing the same. When in that bit of conversation where he was looking through my phone in the midst of yelling at her, she's like, is that Jeanette's phone? Why are you looking through Jeanette's phone? Why are you letting him look through your phone? It's like, because I let him do whatever the fuck he needs to do to feel better. And all of a sudden when I come back, he's on that phone. And I realized, oh, weird. Okay. So Kai, are you ready to pack your shit and go get a shower? It's going to snow, I thought, for the next The next 3 days there was snow. I was like, let's go. Let's just go. Can we go now? Why do we have to go? Fine, Kai. We can stay here. It's gonna be cold. I don't give a fuck, Kai. We'll cuddle up and fuck all night. Whatever you need to do. You want to stay here, you want to come back, but let's just chill. But I hadn't locked the door because I didn't know she was still on property. And she comes in. Are you done with my phone? And it started again. And she wouldn't leave. And I couldn't do it. So I said, I'm out. Bye. I left my phone there. I got home. I calmed down. I'm like, this is absolute insanity. I go check my computer to tell her sister. I tried. She's there, it's fine. And I see that they're conversing on my phone. I left my phone there. She's talking to me. He's acting like it's me talking to her. And then I have the brilliant idea. Oh, he thinks we're in cahoots. Let me show him how not in cahoots we are. And I wrote in anger and in my truth and in a lot of caps. And I said, leave me alone. Ever since you keep communicating with me and ever since you've been back in the picture, like we don't reconnect. And now he's fucking like, and he's not working on the house anymore. And it looks like he fucking emptied everything out. Like, what the fuck is going on? And he keeps showing up and a couple of, what the fuck, just fucking fuck off. I was so livid. And I turned the fucking thing off and I was like, well, let's see if he believes that we're not in cahoots now. Because we never were. And I get pissed off about having to get rid of one more phone. 9 phones and 1 laptop were destroyed in this 7-month relationship due to his paranoia. So anyway, I have an Alexa app. So I said, hey, Alexa, call my phone. And this is after he'd seen all that craziness that I threw at her. And he picked up and he's like, hey, homie, come pick me up. I want to go home. I'm like, whatever, bro. I'm so exhausted. Come pick me up. I'll wait outside the property. Why? Because she hadn't left. So he waited outside the property and he was so pissed. Oh, let's go. And he was obviously exhausted too. We got back here, took a bath together. I said, I gotta work in the morning. I got a double tomorrow. We just go to bed. I don't want to talk anymore. We just go to bed. And we love 3 more times like we always do. And we held each other and I realized how skinny he'd gotten in a month and a half. In a month and a half, he had gone from this healthy man that was actively working on redesigning those places, actively getting stuff from driving off to get, heaters and whatever fucking thing. He put in like a tank in the outside, all the stuff that he knew how to do. He was working. And in a month and a half that picture was taken, that last night I held him and I was like, why won't you eat? You're a big eater. I've tried to feed you so many times. Why aren't you? I don't need to eat anymore. I'm gonna work all day tomorrow, Kai. You can just, I put lots of your favorite food in the fridge. The place, I love this place. Be at peace. We'll talk after work. You'll have time by yourself to chill. I'm not gonna be here when you're not here. Kai, I work tomorrow. What you have nowhere else to go right now. What are you gonna do? Never mind. Let's go to sleep. This is a very small apartment. It used to be a hotel room. I have a lot of lights up and stuff, whatever. He disconnected all the lights. He dismantled one of my clocks. He took the batteries out of all the others. He disconnected Alexa. He factory reset my phone. So when I woke up, I didn't know what time it was. Oh, shit, I'm late for work. What the fuck? Kai, why are none of the lights working? I mean, you just wake up and nothing is working and it's dark and nothing's making sense. Like, what? Where the fuck are the clocks? Like, what? I was upset because this is a weird way to wake up. And then I go get my phone and it's like, what the fuck is this? Did you why would you do that? After the night that I just had and the 7 months prior to it, I was like, why can't you respect my space? You never disrespected it like that before. He would take my favorite clothes and wear my favorite necklaces and stuff because he wanted my energy on him, and that used to piss me off, but then it became endearing and I let him, but he had never come into my space and taken things apart and disconnected everything and factory resetted my phone. I didn't know what time it was. I was naked. I was like, the fuck is this shit? And I was like, it was too much for that early in the morning to wake up like that. He got up, he started dressing really fast. He put on a facial mask. The fuck did that come from? And he's like, I gotta go. And I'm like, Kai, I am not kicking you out. You have the keys, you know this, but I just need you to respect and fix my fucking phone. And he's like, sorry, okay. And I'm like, Kai. And then I got him by the door, the liner, the dog. My dog went off, and I was like, fuck. I'm like, did you get him? And he's like, no, I'm never coming here again. And I was like, Kai, please just fucking go get Leonard or fucking fix my phone. I'll be back after. I just need to know what time it is. And then he came real close to my face and he said, promise me you will never go to my house again. Fine, I won't. And you can come back when you can respect my place. You have the keys. And then I went to go look for my dog. And Kai and Leonard disappeared for like an hour. I found the dog. I did not find Kai. And I had to go to work. It was Friday. Friday evening at 6 o'clock, Clay comes in. Very distraught. Clearly been crying. Here, Jeanette, take his keys. Oh, is that why I keep having to borrow my friend's car? You had the keys, okay. Because he had two vehicles. And I was like, bitch, I don't want to deal with you. And he's like, I'm never talking to him again. You take the keys. All right, whatever, fuck off. I'm like, yeah, okay. I got off at 7. I went home. I looked for the Book of Miracles. I put in the cover. This is how you break out of the matrix. I got the healing book on addiction by what's his face. I can't remember. I'm so tired. And I said, this is how you find yourself. And I put those books in there. I made him a burrito. I got him a dessert. I got him a soda pop, put it all in there. And I put the keys in the front. And then for some reason, this weird grace came over me. And I started reading one of my books. I've been working. This has been a lot. I'm gonna rest here a minute. I'm gonna read my books. I didn't show up to his house till 12:06. Now that would be Saturday morning, 6 minutes into Saturday morning. The property was pitch black. I brought Leonard, but everything was so quiet, and all the lights that he had over on the property were gone. And there was no light on anywhere. And that little casita that he hung himself in, there was a window and then another window. And everything was so quiet. Even my necklaces, I tiptoed. And I could hardly really breathe. It was just so silent. I was like, and I put the backpack down, and that's when the light went on. If I had looked up, I probably would have seen him hanging. God didn't want me to find him. It wasn't my karma to have. But I kept my head down and I set the backpack down and I backed up. And I didn't raise my head up until the light went off. And then I looked at the sky. And God's gracious led me to my car. And I turned it on and I went back and stared down the fucking thing. And the light didn't go back on. Maybe he's asleep. The next day was Saturday. I called his phone, I texted his phone and said, did you get the keys? They were in the front pocket. The phone had been destroyed or something because now it was like, it's undeliverable. I bet he'll be back at my house by the end of my shift. The last thing I did was make him a pizza. Well, he's either going to be at the apartment or I'll go borrow Rent's car one more time and go, you're going to like this pizza. And I know he's hungry right now. That's when I found out. They waited till the end of my shift. Because my dumb ass would have done what I did. I had taken my dog home and then I come back and finish. Everybody in the whole fucking town knew that he had been found that day. So you tell me, was it my fault? It wasn't anybody's fault other than the mental illness. It was. We live in Crestone, Colorado. It's a 4-block town surrounded by ashrams and healing centers and mecca of healing. On the Sangre de Cristo mountains, where people have come to be blessed and to heal for thousands of years. No war was ever allowed here. Natives would meet here to heal and make peace. And anyone that knows anything about this tiny little community knows that Crestone either spits you out or it takes you in. And you will fucking figure your shit out or you will be taken out. So why don't we have any mental health anywhere here? Why don't we have any resources other than 1 hour a fucking week addiction meeting? And I'm not talking shit on that. It's beautiful. I love it. But that's it. We're surrounded by healers and broken people like myself, like Kai, like most of the people in this town. We have no resources in this town for mental health or for addiction. So Flea, you want to post up a video anonymously and then send it directly to my boss and friend Lori today and be like, make it sound like I didn't give a shit about his mental health. I gave a lot of shits about his mental health. And I almost lost my mental health trying to help him with his mental health. So this is a story, one story, of what one beautiful man's broken mind did without, and he was doing so good. He planned it. I thought the stuff was gone. No, it turns out he burnt everything. Except very few things, which included the portrait he was still painting of me and the hoodies that he stole from me because he wanted to have my scent on him. And like a few other things. Very limited amount of things. He burnt everything else. Kept his tools. They're all organized. That the trucks, everything else, gone. He died in his own clothes. He did not die with any of my clothes on. He was always wearing my shirts. And he died with his sunglasses on. And all clean clothes. His own. That's all I know. And she had to find him. You want to blame me? Let's not do that. Yes, I did fucking try to get him mental health the hard way. Through the sheriffs, didn't get anywhere. Through the fucking peace patrol, trying to explain to him, like, he can't even understand the fucking restraining order. Every day, you gotta go on your hero's journey. Please get a therapist. 7 months with somebody with schizophrenia, depression, addiction, and such a huge, massive heart with such a fractured brain. You can't just say it's one thing or another, or blame a person or another. But we need our resources here in this town, because it's only going to keep getting worse. The same week that Kai hung himself, there was a total of 8 deaths in this tiny town. Death is amongst us. The truths are coming out. Micro the macro. There's an election this week. Everything's going to shit in a handbasket. Maybe you can start taking better care of each other and have support systems set up so that the ground crew that we are, your clerks and your bar taps and your builders, have some resources in this rich community. So to my mayor, to our new mayor, Kai, you know me, I need mental health help. I'm as broken as anyone else. The only reason I'm still standing is because I had enough healing, because I'm 10 years older than him, and I had to heal myself. And I have the grace of God, and I am a child of God, and I will be resilient. But what I will not do is sit here in this tiny community and once again be slandered with lies. Hence this video. I don't know if anyone will even watch it. But here's my witnessing of the truth of what mental health did to Kai, to the people around him, and what I witnessed and what happened with me. I very much cared about his mental health. And I guarantee you, no one in his life ever put as much focus on mental health as I did. And it still didn't matter, because I'm not a fucking professional, and I, at the end of this 7 months, need a professional. Kai's good. When you love somebody that much, and you connect sexually that much, and you kill each other's egos nonstop, you have a connection. And Kai is whole now. I feel him. The only other time in my life that I communicated with the other side was with my grandpa when I was 19. When he passed, he communicated with me for a while. Kai only communicated with me twice so far. I finally got to, for 2.5 hours, after doing a lot of prayer and a lot of awesome synchronicities that happened with other healers that were helping me and coming onto my door, and thank you all, and helping me. We got him at it. We helped with our energy to get him transitioned. It took my grandfather months to transition from the in-between to freedom, or whatever that is, heaven, unity. It took Kai literally 4 days. He's all back together, and he blessed me with the 2.5 hours of just random, like, talking to me, and I was talking to him out loud. I was like, oh my God, is this what you meant all that time? He says, yes. I said, wow. For 2.5 hours, I couldn't stop grinning. It was that day that the clouds made that heart. A few days ago. I was so happy. I was like, he's okay. He made it through. My God, I'm so impressed with you. Even now, even there. Look how fast you did that. My grandfather was awesome, and it took him months. Of course, he was a lot older. He was 74. Kai was only 33. And I said, I'm so happy that you're okay, hon. You must be really needed there. You are a divine rock star there. You are Sunshine, which was his nickname, which is why Leonard's middle name is Sunshine. Kai's okay now. I finally got to telepathically communicate for, even though it's just 2.5 hours. And I don't know if I'll ever hear from him again, or if that was it. I don't know. I don't know things, okay? I just experience what I experience, and then I speak it. I just know what I know. And every red flag that I ignored, and all the torture of the, what the fuck? Was worth it. Because this man should have had some help. And I did the best I could, but he needed a lot more help than I was able to provide. And I'm pretty good at helping with stuff like this because I've been through it. I never had schizophrenia, and I hope that we get some comments when I post this, not anonymously, but publicly on Facebook. And that those comments are people saying, let me tell you about my story. Sorry this was so long, but it is what it is. This is mind-numbingly painful right now because I couldn't have tried any harder. Then it just happened. I know he's okay. Now we don't have him here anymore. So please, Crestone community, get some mental health help here. And maybe people that have the money to do so don't realize that there's professionals here that are ready and set to go. And that we do need that help. And we're going to need it more and more as this world fucking does what it's doing. We need to be able to support each other and have the resources we need. And Kai did not have the resources he needed. And I love him very much. And I don't know what else I could have done, but I fucking tried. I can't even figure out how to turn this fucking thing on. Yeah, I can't think anymore right now.